Welcome to 2x4 Hardcore, Episode 16, Talent Builder, and Third Beta WoM. Hey guys, so this episode is going to be a lot different than the other episodes that I've had. The past few episodes I've been talking a lot about ordering chaos and having a lot of content of that, but today I'm going to focus on a few other things. The first thing I'm going to be doing is having a guest star come on and talk about the World of Midgard third beta and what he thinks of that so far. After that, I'm going to be talking about a new app that came out, which is a client for ordering chaos. And finally, I'm going to have some news on a new game that is releasing very soon. Okay, so one thing I just wanted to add about this episode is that it was actually delayed a week, if you guys didn't notice. And that's because I was waiting on this segment, which you're about to listen to, about World of Midgard. The person who is guest starring for this couldn't find a lot of time this week to make this segment, so I had to delay it a week because I really wanted to hear the segment, and it's really informative, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. So I'm sorry for the delay. And this week there'll be a double header episode with episodes 16 and 17 because of that delay. But we'll continue on with the schedule of trying to get out all 20 episodes before the end of February. Here's the episode, and I think you'll really enjoy this segment with a guest star on World of Midgard. So the interview that I was going to do with MzConstrue actually got rescheduled a lot. So I actually sent him questions, and after each question, he said a response. So it won't be a normal conversation that I usually have, but I just wanted to get this episode out as soon as I could. So I'm just gonna say the question, and then he's gonna say his response. So sorry about that. I'm hoping that in the future, me and him can actually have a real conversation. But for now, I'm just gonna have to do it this way. Alright, so I'm just going to start with the questions. The first one is about another game that's actually not World of Midgard. So, MzConstrue, before we get into World of Midgard discussion, let's talk about a different game really quickly. You were the winner of my giveaway, and you got Combat Arms Zombies. What do you think of it so far?
It's not too bad for a first-person shooter. Obviously, most first-person shooters on an iOS device or even an Android device has its qualms, its quirks, and its quandaries, but the replay value is pretty decent. I enjoy it a lot.
Approximately how many people are in the World of Midgard beta? How did you get into it?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure the exact population count. I do know there was a forum post, I believe, that said it was around 4,000 people, and that number is rising. They are still selling the access to third beta WoM, and definitely be surprised. There are many times that you can get quite a gathering on the game of people that are experimenting with the spells and trying to find bugs and whatnot. I got into TBW by purchasing the Dragon Mount. I actually purchased several other items that they had up for grabs, including the book and some of the music that they've got out there, just to help support the development staff. And I ended up doing that in late October. There have been some people that have already played Beta 2 and have been waiting a considerable amount of time for TBW to come out, and by considerable, I mean 10 months or whatnot, and they seem to be a great group of people, very hardcore, and very helpful to a lot of the people that are just now getting on board with the game. So it's a great community, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
How is this beta different from the second beta after a few weeks of gameplay? Are the graphics better? Is the animation more fluid? And what about the general content?
From what I've heard by many of the people that have actually played beta number 2, the graphics have actually improved by leaps and bounds. As far as animations go, there are several effects that actually have the wrong effect at this time. The reason why they did that is they had some effect before getting around to going ahead and put the correct one in its place, and that way they can refine it and get it out to us in a better light. And as far as content goes, they purposely didn't put too much content in the way of storylines, NPCs, and whatnot. We do have some NPCs. We do have enough content to at least reach to level 10. We've been having to grind past level 10. We do have a daily, but the interesting thing is, as far as content goes, they have so many dungeons already released. So they already have what they want for a format for the dungeons, and we are able to go into these dungeons and actually fight the bosses and gather our rewards and actually get some epic items and whatnot. So maybe grinding to get to 25 may be a lot of work to do, but in the end, a lot of people have been rewarded with their efforts. Now, as far as future goes, when Faction Wars is released, they are going to have a lot more content set in place. I believe they're also going to be able to have NPCs that you can buy from and sell different items in the game, which currently they do not have. And it's going to be a gradual rollout. Faction Wars will be, where as time goes on, there will be an update to the game, and with that update is going to be a content update as well.
So you told me that the game isn't going to be released for many months. Was it a miscommunication with Varaxin that it would get released in January, or is there a lot more it needs?
World of Midgard most likely won't be released until November or December of 2012. There was a massively portable interview with John from Varaxin, where John had mistakenly said that Beta 3 was going to be released as early as mid-November. And I'm not sure if the scheduling had actually changed or if he had misspoken, but that's where a lot of people got the idea that World of Midgard was going to be showing up at their devices relatively shortly. Now, when third beta was postponed, it was due to a bug that, if released at the time when people were trying to play, if somebody stumbled onto this bug, it would have actually allowed, or it wouldn't have allowed any of the players to play on that particular server until the bug was actually fixed. And so they decided to go ahead and release it towards the tail end of January, which pushes most of their other scheduling back a little bit as well. They were going to go ahead and try to get Faction Wars released late February, maybe early March. Now it might be early March or closer to later March, maybe even the beginning of April. But the good thing about Faction Wars is anybody with an iOS or Android device will be able to play. And it will be free. There will be zones that are purchasable if you haven't already had access to third beta. And if you ended up buying the Dragon Mount and you've been waiting most of this time and didn't have a computer to play in third beta, then Faction Wars is going to be your blessing. So it's going to be rather exciting. We're seeing so many great improvements to the game. Every single day, Varaxin is releasing something new that's quite the improvement. Graphics, battle mechanics, etc., etc. They've just been working full steam ahead on this game. So for those who couldn't be in third beta WoM, they're going to be rather excited, I believe, to play with Faction Wars.
What is Faction Wars? How can people play it, and can you give a description of it?
Faction Wars is the next stage in development of World of Midgard. It is freely available to everyone, should be on the iTunes Store as well as the Android market. Like I said, it is free. You should be able to, anybody should be able to make an account and go ahead and sign up and join in on the game. Those who already have an access pass to The third beta will be able to unlock most of the sections of the game for free. However, there are particular zones that if you did not have access to third beta, that you would have to actually purchase as a free user. Now, that will end eventually during the development stage, and World of Midgard will be free for everyone, and all zones will be unlocked except for certain island zones. But those island zones will be perks for everyone, and everyone will have to have an in-app purchase in order to use them.
What is your favorite thing about World of Midgard right now? Is it PvP arenas, a variety of classes and races, lots of endgame content, or maybe just the developer enthusiasm and helpfulness?
So far, my absolute favorite thing about World of Midgard is the community. The community is made up of a bunch of people, very widely diverse. Most of them are most genuinely hardcore when it comes to MMORPGs, and it's amazing a lot of the insight that and the ideas and suggestions and bug finding and everything that these people are actually coming up with to help the developers with the process and overall give us a better experience. I will say that I absolutely enjoy the developers as well. They are very fast-paced, very dedicated, extremely hard-working. They are gamers themselves. They seem to really believe in the game that they're trying to make. And although the game is still in its infancy, I'm just amazed at how quickly it's unfolding, how quickly it's maturing, and well, I guess the last thing that I'm absolutely loving about the game is PvP. I'm a PvPer to the core, and so far the system of PvP that they've come up with, although needs improving, is still rather delightful and enjoyable. So that definitely sums that up.
So thanks for talking on the show today, MzConstrue. I'm hoping that in the future we can have a real conversation about World of Midgard and maybe even Eternity. I know that Faction Wars is supposed to be coming out near the end of March, so we can talk about what's changed since the third beta. I'm sure many would like to hear more about World of Midgard when it gets a good following and lots of updates. So thanks again for coming on the show, and hopefully I'll see you in Season 2. So before I get into my review of the talent calculator, I just wanted to quickly say, as you guys know, this episode was delayed a week, so the talent calculator actually had a tiny little update, and it added some new functions to the summary, and it added different languages. So I just wanted to give you guys that update before you start listening to my review of the talent calculator. So last week I told you guys about a new app that was coming out by a member of the Ordering Chaos community named Dragonoid. Well, the day after I posted that episode, the app was actually released to the App Store. It's 99 cents and it's called the Talent Builder for Ordering Chaos. I'm going to show you guys what the app looks like, give you my impressions, and talk about why I think this app will be great for the future of the game. So first of all, this app has two main functions currently. You can create your own spec by adding points to a talent tree that is identical to the game for any class. For example, if I wanted to see what points to add for my monk to be PvP spec, I could open this app and add in those points to test it out. So I did test this out by putting a bunch of random points in, and after I did that, it gave me a summary of what I chose. If the next time you change the points in your spec, you will get a slightly different summary. This is a really great part of the app because you can test out talents yourself instead of just picking them in the game and hoping it works out well for you. Also, when you exit the app, all the talents that you pick stay unless you choose to reset them. I think the developers are going to be creating a save feature soon, so you can save multiple specs in the app itself in the future. The summary gives you real tips on the spec that you choose, with results, a description, gear tips, and what talents are essential for your class. A use of talents function is coming in a future update as well, so that'll be interesting to see. The second function of this app is providing talent builds for you. If you don't know what talents to use for your spec, you can get one of these to give you help on what talents to choose, or you can just copy and paste if you aren't really sure about them. There are ready-made specs for PvP, dungeons, and the hybrid build of your class. This is really useful for me because I don't know a lot about what spec to use for my warrior. I know that PvP arenas are coming out soon, so I got a Battle Warrior PvP spec from this app, which is really helpful. The developer of this app, Dragonoid, claims that these specs have been made by professionals, and I'm pretty convinced of that fact. It's really going to be helpful when I want to respec my warrior, or if I eventually decide to level up a mage, I can see what talents are suggested. These specs that you can buy cost 99 cents each, so I suggest that you buy one for a class that you don't play as much, that you're interested in being more pro in, or one for a class that you already have and you want to become a master at it. This is an optional feature of the app, so if you don't want to pay 99 cents for a ready-made build, you should at least just buy the app because it's definitely worth it. So I just wanted to tell you guys some criticisms I have of the app. First of all is the fact that it doesn't have Retina display yet because it's in the iPhone version. A future update is said to fix this. Also, for non-English speakers, this app doesn't yet have multilingual support, but that is also coming in an update. So far, this app doesn't have tons of functions, but it is very helpful in spec building and figuring out how certain talents will help you. Dragonoid has told me that the next few updates will also bring new features like talent usage, dungeon guides, secrets of the game, and more. But the only way these awesome updates will come out is if more people buy the app and support the hard work they are putting into this. Dragonoid paid people to develop this app for him, so he can tell them what to implement when he wants to. So I suggest that you guys try to give him some recommendations for what you want in the app. This app is going to be really helpful for future Order and Chaos updates as well. Like if they had a new PvP arena, you could choose a PvP spec and look at it, or you could figure out how to respec into PvP. I think that this app has a lot of potential, and for 99 cents, it's pretty much a steal. The link to the app is in the description of this podcast. So I'm asking you guys to please buy the talent builder for Order and Chaos, because I promise you, you will not regret it. So a couple of days ago, a new game was introduced by EA for the iOS devices. Of course, it hasn't come out yet, but this game is going to be using Unreal Engine, and it's called Mass Effect Infiltrator. It looks really good from the screenshots. If you're watching the YouTube version, you can see those screenshots. There's only 3 of them though. And it's just going to be a third-person shooter game just like Mass Effect. So it's a console game on an iOS device once again. This is also developed by the makers of Dead Space, and I've been saying that I wanted to show some Dead Space on here, but I think that this is a lot more fitting because Dead Space came out a year ago. So I'd rather show this game when it comes out, which should be in the next few months. So I'll probably be showing a lot of Mass Effect Infiltrator gameplay on Season 2 of this show, and I cannot wait for EA to release this game. So that's the episode for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Episode 17 should be out within the next few days, and that will include me talking about some casual games, and talking about the banning that you saw this weekend. Episode 18, 19, and 20 should be out within the next week. That's my hope for it. I've already started making episode 18, and I have plans for episode 19 and 20. So without dragging on too much, I will see you guys in episode 17 tomorrow.